Come see this thing 1591. Paralysis via multiverse. Reale, judicial, redefining Galaxies. This is a series where I summarize rented on posts made up of at least 3 things I have read, seen, or heard. First question. Is this Brett Weinstein and Heather Haying, or Weinstein and Haying? Moving away from doing current affairs and want to do more evergreen content, and pun intended on that one because this one we're talking about Brett Weinstein and Heather Haying, who used to be professors at Evergreen University, which is one of the initial places that this whole woke cancellation thing happened on such a massive scale. And you have the recent thing with Charlie Kirk, you have things going on right now. But in this one, they're talking about the primarily mental multiverses tied into the Cartesian crisis they're talking about. And that is just a situation where you're not sure if the information you're getting is real. You're not anchored into reality. You have different truths. Your truths. These are my truths. I'm speaking my truth to the world versus them being an objective truth. Or if not an objective truth, at least a truth that people can accept and agree upon. Because it doesn't have to be as big as where do you think the COVID pandemic came from. Like if you assume that it just came from some bat in some wet market and was not, and then if you have the other kind of thing like I'm on, where it's like, okay, the different world powers came together, created this lab, they were doing these tests and developed this thing, and then it could have gone from the lab, someone could have bit someone in the lab or somebody in the lab, sold it off to the wet market. If you have those two different things as the reality of something that led to that amount of social change, it's going to have you essentially living in a different universe than somebody who just thinks it was just a pangolin or something. And for those of you familiar with the butterfly effect, you know it doesn't have to be a globe-spanning issue like the pandemic for this to have a lot of knock-on effects if we have different definitions of what is true or not. Next question, is this a universe where the swamp is being drained? This post was from back in August 26th, but as I said, evergreen stuff, want to keep it going. Had Robert Barnes and Viva Frey on their Sunday news law mashup thing, and back then, talking about the DC peace haven. Right now, you have Trump doing that deal between Israel and Gaza. You also had Big Tish and Nipple Judge spanked, and then now you just have Tisha James having her indictment. And yeah, so these things have some time. There's a longer time span on these things. But do you think this is a good thing that's happening? Do you think the swamp's actually going to be drained? Do you think something like Project Ukraine might actually have peace? And with that, again, it's a different multiverse thing. Some people truly think it was just bad. Putin just all of a sudden just wants to take over Europe. And then some other people are like, hey, this is actually a plan by the puppeteers in the West. And you had Boris Johnson, F. Boris, going in there and messing up a potential peace deal that could have happened and ended this at the start of this whole, well, not the start, because that wasn't the start. The Maidan coup might have been one of the starts. But yeah, the start of the recent actual violence going on. Last question, could we colonize a dark part of the universe? Anton Petrov here in my ongoing process of trying to understand space matter. Space is just massive, and I think this is in part because I really like the epic sci-fi, and the more I understand about the stuff in space, the more I can get into that genre. But in this one, he's talking about a dark galaxy, which was a hypothetical thing, and they think they found one, which is essentially a galaxy made up of dark matter and gas. So no stars, no planets that they can find, but it's a galaxy somehow. While on the topic of the genre, The Three-Body Problem was one of my favorite recent series, and I like both shows that I've seen of it, different takes on it. And I wrangled in a story here called Wandering Earth, which is also a Chinese story that was turned into a Netflix series. It is about a wandering Earth.